Hello folks, my name is Rojo, and welcome to Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines. This is hands down one of my favorite games of all time. It was created in 2004, released in 2004, created by Troika Games, which is now defunct, unfortunately. Some of those guys are the same people who worked on the original couple of Fallout games, I think. I'm not sure who published it. It might have been Troika themselves. Honestly, I really am not sure who published it. But this is a game about being a vampire in modern society, sort of a gothic version of modern society. And it's based on a tabletop RPG, which I've personally never played. In this video, we're only going to be making a new character and talking about the game a little bit and watching the intro, so if you don't care about any of that stuff, you can just skip on to the next one. I will say, though, that I'm going to be using the unofficial patch, so big thanks to everybody who's been working on that for who knows how many years, because it's great stuff. I'm using the plus version, and so the unofficial patch will basically fix some bugs, and the plus version moves some items around and restores some content, basically. So, without further ado, why don't we go ahead and start a new game here, and see what kind of characters we can make. Now, I already know of what I'm going to do, but I'll go through and explain some of the stuff as we go along here, just so you can get a little bit of an idea of how the game works mechanically. So we are just going to go and create our character directly. So we have a few different clans here as well. The Bruja are sort of like the, man, I'm not going to be a part of this system, threw it on the ground, kind of fellows. Kind of fuck the system type guys. At least as far as this game is concerned, that's sort of how they're described. These guys have sort of like a connection to, like animals and that kind of thing. The Malkavians, great clan. I've played through this game twice. Once as a Malkavian. These guys are just batshit crazy, and you get some really funny things that happen when you play as a Malkavian. We're not going to be playing as a Malkavian in this playthrough, but if you do it for yourself, yeah, definitely worth your time. The Nosferatu. These guys are the only monstrous version of a vampire that you can play in this game. They are not allowed to be seen in public, basically, because obviously people will freak right the fuck out. So I imagine a very different playstyle to be a Nosferatu and have to remain in the shadows for a lot of the game. Then we have the Toreador. These are kind of like the pretty boys. We are not going to be playing as Toreador, but I have played through as them before. This is actually the first playthrough that I ever did was as a Toreador. And I actually haven't played this game for quite a while, but I got it kind of late. A friend gave it to me, and I still have the disc somewhere, but I'm playing the Steam version. Might even buy the GOG version if it goes on sale. We have the Tremere. These guys are sort of like vampiric mages, in a sense. And then we have the Ventru, which are sort of like the, I guess, sort of the posh, sort of royalty kind of guys, I guess. Something like that. These are all very, very rough descriptions. You can pause the video to read their lore if you want, but we're going to play as a Tremere. I've always wanted to play as one, and never have, so I think now is the time. We're going to need a name, of course. Let's call ourselves Bartholomew. Bartholomew? I think that's an acceptable name for a wizardly type vampire. We have a few different histories that we can choose from. I'm not going to go through all of these, but suffice to say that each one of these will sort of give you an advantage, or give you one advantage and like some kind of disadvantage to go with it, or they will give you some kind of, or they'll switch your stats around a little bit for the start of the game here. We are going to be a country club Lothario, which you can read that if you choose, but basically it's going to swap the priority order of our attributes to social, physical, and mental, rather than mental, physical, social. So we'll see what that means right here. This is our character sheet. So normally we would get, see how we have 2 points in social that we can spend? Normally that would be over here in mental. Physical would be the same, and then we have all of these skills and disciplines, which are kind of like spells. Now you'll see over here we have feats. These are sort of what everything ties into, and this determines how well we can perform certain things, such as combat, sneaking, hacking, etc., talking to people, and not eating shit when we get hit with bullets and axes and whatever else we may find. So let's see here. So you can see like some attributes or skills will affect a couple different things. You can see as I like come over mouse over dexterity, we can see that it affects lockpicking and sneaking. So if we put a point in there, our lockpicking goes up to 2 and our sneaking goes up to 2. Each, as we sort of get into the game, each one of these will cost more and more experience to raise up as the skill increases or the attribute increases. So it's kind of good, in my opinion, to stack up early on for the most part. We certainly don't have to. There's a lot of different ways to play the game. It is an action RPG after all. But we're going to put 2 points in charisma, I think, for some persuasion. And then I think we're going to do... Well, we can't put anything there, can we? That's okay. I think we'll get a couple in subterfuge for some seduction. Interesting thing is, I've actually never played as a vampire with dominate, which you can also use in conversation. So we may be able to just dominate our way through some dialogues rather than using persuasion or seduction or intimidation. But I'm not sure that it'll work on everybody. I have a feeling that it won't. So we still do want to get some of those social skills. All right. So we've got that. Let's see, skills. Firearms, of course, is going to be about guns. Melee is about melee weapons. Brawl is for unarmed combat. And I think that unarmed combat increases our ability to sort of like bite people in combat. I'm not 100% sure about that, but we're going to get a point of security, I think, for a little bit better lockpicking. Now, I'm going to break my own rule here. I'm going to get 2 points of scholarship, which is going to give us some research and give us some more persuasion. And then I'm going to get 1 point of finance. Now, I'm going to be doing a little bit of min-maxing in this game. I may mess some things up in that regard. It's okay. It's not really that big a deal. We don't even really need any finance, but I'm just going to get it now. Since it's early on, and the sooner you get it, the more useful it's likely to be for you. That said, we have Auspex, Dominate, and Thaumaturgy. Each one of these will give us a new spell, basically, that's more powerful than the last, at least in theory. Same thing with Thaumaturgy. Now, Thaumaturgy is unique to the Tremere clan, and they get a bunch of different stuff from that. Auspex basically gives us a wits and perception increase as we level it up, and lets us see through walls and stuff like that. We will, I think, just get a point of Thaumaturgy for now, but we'll probably get some Dominate and some Auspex as well as time goes on. I think that's probably gonna do it. I may actually... I do want this persuasion, but actually, you know what? I might go appearance just early on here. It can be useful early. I mean, it can be useful through the whole game, but yeah, why don't we maybe do some appearance, and that could help us out if Dominate can't, for one particular reason, which we'll go over in a video or two. We don't need to worry about it right now, but that is going to do it, I believe. We have our name. We've spent all of our points, so now we're going to go ahead and just watch the intro, and when that's all over, we will be going through the tutorial area in the next video. So until then, my name has been Rojo, and thanks for watching.
kindred. My apologies for disrupting any business or interfering with prior engagements you may have had this evening. It's unfortunate that the affair that gathers us together tonight is a troubling one. We are here because the laws that bind our society, the laws that are the fabric of our existence, have been broken. As Prince, I am within my rights to grant or deny the kindred of this city the privilege of siring. Many of you have come to me seeking permission, and I have endorsed some of these requests. However, the accused that sits before you tonight was not refused permission. Indeed, my permission was never sought at all. They were caught shortly after the embrace of this child. It pains me to announce the sentence, as up to tonight I considered the accused a loyal and upstanding member of our organization. But as some of you may know, the penalty for this transgression is death. Know that I am no more adjudicator than I am a servant to the law that governs us all. Let tonight's proceedings serve as a reminder to our community that we must adhere to the code that binds our society, lest we endanger all of our blood. Forgive me. Let the penalty commence. Which leads to the fate of the ill-begotten progeny. Without a sire, most childer are doomed to walk the earth never knowing their place, their responsibility, and most importantly, the laws they must obey. Therefore, I have decided that this is bullshit! If Mr. Rodriguez would let me finish. I have decided to let this kindred live. They shall be instructed in the ways of our kind, and be granted the same rights. Let no one say I am unsympathetic to the plights and causes of this community. I thank you all for attending these proceedings, and I hope their significance is not lost. Good evening. Your sire, tragic, my apologies. But you see, there is a strict code of conduct that all of us must adhere to if we wish to survive. When anyone breaks these laws, they undermine the well-worn fabric of our centuries-old society. Understand my predicament. Allowing you to live makes me directly responsible for your subsequent behavior. So, what I'm offering is not generosity, but the opportunity to transcend the fate woven by your sire. This is your trial. You will be brought to Santa Monica. There you will meet an agent by the name of Mercurio. He will provide the details of your labor. I've shown you great clemency. Prove it was more than a wasted gesture, fledgling. Don't come back until you do. Good evening.